You're not supposed to be happy. We aren't designed to be happy. As an animal, our number one priority is to create more of ourselves. It isn't to be happy. And so to know that Mother Nature doesn't want you to be happy, for me was really helpful just in my own mind, recognizing the fact that this is something that I'm gonna need to work on. One of the reasons we aren't designed to be happy is because our ancestors were programmed for survival. So we have a bent towards thinking cynically, just as a species. That said, there's still something that you can do to be happier. There are what Arthur Brooks calls a portfolio of habits that you can build that will help you feel happier on the day-to-day. And these are things that you already know, like getting the right amount of sleep, exercise, et cetera, et cetera. What's also important to this though is your social environment, having friends, having good relationships. And for me, monitoring who I'm spending my time with was super helpful, just because I was like, do I feel happier spending time with this person? Or is this somebody that I feel like saps my energy? And so to me, really thinking about how can I build this portfolio of habits so that I can spend more time in this happiness place, for me has been a game changer. Improvement in these areas requires commitment and effort, like anything else that is worthwhile. But if you do the work, you will most definitely see substantial results. One of my favorite happiness researchers, his name's Arthur Brooks. He's a professor, he writes for The Atlantic. He has all this amazing research on happiness. It turns out that happiness, at least according to his research, isn't necessarily as much about trying to find this happy place or trying to get more things, but it's about how do we cultivate a real sense of enough with what we already have. What's really difficult about that is in our culture, it's all about more, right? It's always about how do we get more thing? What's the next thing to buy? What's the next thing to do? And that we chase these things, what Brooks calls false idols: money, power, fame, pleasure. We chase these false idols in hopes that we'll fill that kind of existential hole that all of us have inside of us. Rather than trying to get someplace else, how do we just become more happy with what we already have? How our sense of happiness and enough is actually directly correlated to the sense of comparison. We think of enough as the people that we're surrounded with. So enough changes depending on the community that you're in, the people that you associate with, which I think is fascinating, which is why the more you kind of try to climb that social ladder, the less you have, because you start seeing people that have more than you no matter what it is. As we wind our way through life, no matter what we achieve, see, acquire, or do, satisfaction seems to slip from our grasp. And so what Brooks is really talking about here, happiness is a state that will forever be fleeting, because like all feelings, they're transient. Whenever I'm having a really difficult period, that often leads later on to greater feelings of happiness, because you have that baseline thing to compare to. And knowing that whenever I'm in one of these more breakdown moments, being able to understand that this isn't forever has really helped me kind of embrace those moments rather than trying to escape them into a sense of happiness all the time. Knowing that both are transient, I actually think is super helpful. And that brings me to my final point that I wanted to talk to you about. It's this dance between purpose and peace. How am I fluctuating between doing these things that I find a lot of value in, bring me purpose, being excited about the next thing, being future oriented, and at the same time, really trying to balance. So for myself, those are a couple things that I've found incredibly helpful. A lot of research from Arthur Brooks, highly recommend checking out his stuff. Just understanding that so much of this it's because of those moments you have to compare to actually end up making you happier along the line. So thank you so much for tuning in as always, and I'll check you on the next one. Peace.